Hello everybody, welcome back to It's Current Year. We are back. Sorry about the lack of uploads recently, having some issues with my graphics card, but they have been resolved. So we're back in with another quick battle ladder replay today on the Red Desert map, which seems to be a map that I just run into a lot on ladder battles. Today we are taking on Flying Taco and the Dark Elves. I am playing the Warriors of Chaos. So we'll go in and have a look at the armies. Quite sort of similar builds in terms of what we've taken. Flying Taco has taken 3 units of Dark Riders with repeated crossbows out the front, 2 units of Scourge Runner Chariots with their anti-large sort of mini bolt throwers, front line of Dread Spears, some Blackguard and some Witch Elves. Like the Blackguard and Witch Elf combination, good for enraging things into unfavorable engagements. And up top here we have Mr. Malekith himself, who has been pretty much completely stripped back. He's on Seraphon, but all he has taken is Soul Stealer and the Gaze of Malice, so no items and pretty cheap. It's a pretty good way to use Malekith. Obviously his stats are fantastic. He's an absolute beast in combat, and on a dragon, he has a lot of ways to deal damage. Obviously a breath attack, Soul Stealer, and the Gaze of Malice, great for clearing blob fights and Chaos Marauders, low tier infantry, that kind of thing. For my own force, my front line is just Marauders with a couple of chevrons put into them. I have taken 2 units of Chosen with great weapons, as well as the Demon Spew Forsaken, good sort of buzzsaw unit for working through cheap infantry and lightly armored targets, but also with their melee attack debuff that they have in the front rank. In that little radius. I've also taken 2 units of Chaos Warriors with halberds, 3 units of Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes, as well as 2 poisoned Warhounds. So you can see here the battle's sort of getting underway. I also do have the Keeper of Secrets, Sartorial the Everwatcher. He has taken Final Transmutation as well as Transmutation of Lead. So again, pretty cheap. An Area of Effect spell to try and goon down Malekith, and a debuff with the transmutation of lead. So fighting gets underway pretty quickly here, and I do send my Marauder Horsemen in to try and push back the Dark Riders, but good play by Flying Taco here to bring it through his own forces, and they do actually get terror out, so I was just too slow getting the movement order off here. I did sort of leave the Hounds in, but now I'm moving them back. These Marauder Horsemen will return, but that was a bit of a lax play by me at the start there. Obviously, Dark Riders can't run and shoot. They can but they can only shoot in their front arc. So I figured trying to do a bit of combat here with my Marauder Horsemen wasn't actually a bad idea, but you see the halberds back here. I'm trying to push the Chosen through to get them on the Blackguard of Nagaron. That's probably an advantageous matchup for the Chosen. Blackguard are great units, but the dedicated armor piercing and just the slightly better sort of offensive combat stats on the Chosen make that a pretty good matchup for me. So the infantry fight is going reasonably well, but the back here, and this is going to be important later in the matchup, because obviously these Dark Riders are still quite healthy. They've got heaps of ammo, and you see how tattered these Marauder Horsemen are now. Marauder Horsemen would be a good way to chip some damage off Malekith, as well as just be, open up sort of multiple lanes of threats to Flying Taco and Taxi's micro. As I said, the front line's going well. Marauders are going to trade reasonably well with with Dread Spears. Chosen are going to beat down halberds. I've got these Chosen here that it's probably overkill, but they're going to absolutely murder these Dread Spears. They're already up to 63 kills. Got both the Blackguards sort of bunched up here, and I don't mind that. So I'm just giving a bit of a charge. I gave a bit of a charge order there on something else, and I think they got pathed into the Blackguard. So again, just poor, sloppy use of my Marauder Horsemen, and this is going to come back and cost me. The Demon Spew and these Chosen are going to break off these Dread Spears pretty quick, but you see here, my Chosen have 21 kills here. His Blackguard, probably a fair few of them. Those kills are actually my Marauder Horsemen, but look at this firing line that he's got here, and all my high class infantry, even the Demon Spew, the Chosen, the Chaos Warriors with halberds, none of them are shielded infantry. So all of these guys are getting great shots in, great armor piercing shots, and you see how tattered my Marauder Horsemen are now. They're being brought back in to try and stop just the shots from the Scourge Runners, but they're so they've taken so much damage that they're just getting routed off so easily. I am pushing through with a group of Chaos Poison Warhounds. I'm just trying to push these guys back because the infantry fight's gone completely my way. You know, I've polished off these Blackguard of Naggaroth. These great weapon chosen have 86 kills. These one here have 65. This one in particular, this unit here has been fighting Blackguard most of the game. So that's 65 kills that are mostly Blackguard, and you know, I'm looking really good in this element of the fight. But as you see here, you know, 31 Chaos Warhounds, not much HP. 12 Marauder Horsemen. What's over here? We've got 27 Hounds here. All my fast cav, and we've got a few more over here as well coming back, but they're just so tattered, and I don't really have any way to actually force an engagement with any of these units now. And he can just sit back. He's got a couple of scraps of infantry which he can send in sort of bit by bit just to sort of speed hump me. But the Dark Riders here are just going to keep pushing back. I have rallied with these guys, but you look at their leadership. I mean, they've rallied and they've been sitting there for probably 20 seconds now, and they've just got no ability to stay in the fight now. Armor piercing shots going in here. Like I said, no shields on these halberd warriors. No shields on the chosen. So every volley of shots from these guys is just getting absolutely maximal, the max possible value. Sarthoriel's pretty healthy, but obviously Malekith's healthy as well. He hasn't really had to commit at the moment, and Flying Taco knows now he can just sort of spread out. And look at this, as soon as I bring all these guys back in, look, just even being near the Scourge Runners with 3 models, they rout off, and they've all shattered. So it's sort of just a long, slow push for me now to come in. I've got to try and force some engagement somehow. I've managed to get these Scourge Runners off, luckily. But even then, you know, these guys have won that fight, and they're breaking. You know, their leadership is failing. Malekith can just make uses of his Gaze of Malice if he needs. He can dive bomb down where he needs to. He can use his breath weapons, and all the while these guys, I mean, they're never ever going to catch him. 28 speed. They're some of the slowest infantry in the game. So at this stage, you know, these guys are starting to just lose unit models, starting to get pretty beaten up. The Scourge Runners obviously do have some anti-large. Sarthoriel has great missile resistance, but you know, this is what he might as well be using the Scourge Runners for that with the anti-large and get some damage into him, because I'm probably at the point now that if Sarthoriel goes down, we're going to start looking at army losses by the time these guys are expending their ammo. So what I am trying to do is getting these Marauders out the front and get them, just give them an attack order, try and keep everything else nice and bunched up, try and just take off anything I can. So a unit of Dread Spears here. Okay, I've got Malekith on the ground, and I am going to pop I believe I pop a Transmutation of Lead. Yeah, there you go. So waiting for him to commit down, debuff his combat stats a little bit. So basically he can't kill the chicken, but also just to, save my own hide and debuff him down a bit. And we've got my shielded infantry chasing here, trying to push back. But again, if the micro's solid, these guys won't mind that. They'll just dance around. They'll go to the other side of the engagement. They'll rip a volley of shots in and get out. So Flying Taco, good play there. Pulling back up to the sky to try and just waste the Transmutation of Lead. Gaze of Malice going down there, just ripping off a couple of unit models. The Forsaken are starting to falter. These Marauders are starting to falter. And he's got the Scourge Runner Chariots just basically taking pot shots at Sarthoriel. Not really too concerned about the missile resistance. I am trying to sort of juke the shots and waste as much of the ammo. I figure, my only hope here is to try and get him, if he's shooting at Sarthoriel, to try and juke the shots and force him into fighting in hand to hand, because I've still got some halberds, I've still got some chosen. Sarthoriel's no slouch. So again, these guys have done their job enough, I guess, pushed back a little bit, but still just firing rounds in. And we're getting to the point now where the Scourge Runner shots are starting to take full toll, and a nice breath attack there will come in. Malekith's going to hop down, wade into the fight. Malekith's going to absolutely put a whooping on Sarthoriel. I think this is actually going to be a Soul Stealer going down as well, so recouping some hit points, but it's looking pretty bleak for me here. Sarthoriel's down to his last 140, so one more attack there. Sarthoriel will go down, and that unfortunately will be army losses for the Warriors of Chaos. So I managed to get the Dark Riders down to near the end of their ammo, but just not far enough. Like I said earlier in the cast, just complete mismanagement of my Marauder Horsemen, and a couple of times with my Hounds as well. You know, I gave them attack orders purposely early on to push them back, so they wouldn't be able to get shots on my approaching Chosen and before the fighting started. But a good quick reaction from Flying Taco pulled them back through his own lines, and then obviously Marauder Horsemen don't want anything to do with Dread Spears or Black Guard. So that was a pretty crucial trade there that he won. The infantry fight went really well for me. Like I said, fairly similar sort of lists. Cheapish frontline, some more elite infantry, and then some skirmish cav. In his case, he had some Scourge Runners, which are a pretty decent unit. They're good. They're actually good against the Warriors of Chaos. Good for picking off things like Shaggoths, Chaos Spawn, Kolek Sun Eater if you go with him as your lord. If I had my time again, obviously hindsight's a wonderful thing, but probably didn't need the halberds. Probably could have downgraded both. Probably could have cut both of them. Just taken maybe another unit of shielded infantry, and then given what he's taken in, given as well how poorly I've managed it, just some more Hounds or some more Marauder Horsemen, maybe even some Marauder Horsemasters, because they sort of double as I guess shock cavalry, light shock cavalry if you like. They have reasonably good combat stats, but all in all, a pretty good game on the Red Desert map, which, as I said, seems to be one that I hit. I reckon 1 in every 4 games. But a good opponent, Flying Taco. Pretty close match, but just a good trade in the beginning there with the fast cavs has pretty much won the day for him. So. Like I said, sorry for having no uploads for the last week or so. My graphics card issues are resolved, and there's a couple more replays on the way. I've also finished the script and got all the artwork for the next episode of Lore Behind the Location, so that will hopefully drop in the next couple of days. But thank you very much for returning and watching, and we'll see you next time. Take care.